guys, welcome back. Well, have a look at this, folks. We have literally been busy resurrecting my grandfather's farm equipment. So we think this is an old Horwood Bagshaw cultivator. Now this was sitting out at Belaley North in a shed out there at the old homestead, and Dad reckons it's probably been at least 35 years, maybe 40 years since this has been used. So he went out the other day, he pumped up the tyres, they held pressure, and then me and him went out a few days ago with the Chamberlain. We connected it up, cleaned up the hydraulic cylinder. There was a few spots of rust on it, and went to go pump it up, blew a hydraulic hose, got a new one made, went back yesterday and picked this old girl up, brought it home. Now you might be saying, Henry, why on earth did you want to resurrect that little thing? Well, it was just sitting in the shed rotting anyway, so if it's useless it might as well come out of there so it could be scrapped. But we did also have the thought in mind that occasionally around the farm we like to do a little bit of maximum soil disturbance, a bit of tillage. Now whether that's just a fire break around a paddock or pulling out an old contour, filling in some creeks, just anything like that where you just want to throw a bit of dirt around, we thought, hey, this little thing could be really handy for that. And look, we've got it back here. We're actually going to give it a little test run now. Now our seeding bars just have knife points on them, meaning they're only about the thickness of that shank there. They really don't do a lot of soil disturbance, whereas these old shears here, they really flip the dirt over. I mean, that's what they were designed for. They'd go out in the summer if they got a good rain, start working the paddock up, setting up a good seed bed for the crop. Before putting in the crop, again, setting up seed bed, disturbing weeds, killing weeds, all that sort of thing. So that's what they're really designed for, and that's what I mean when I say maximum soil disturbance or tillage. We don't have anything else on the farm that can really do it. It's just an old farming practice that we don't really use anymore, but like I said, there are odd occasions where you do just want to throw a bit of dirt around, and this little thing could be handy for that. So we have paired the old girl up to the Chamberlain 4480. Now the reason for that is really just the hydraulic fittings on the old cultivator would only fit into this tractor anyway, and this is the sort of tractor that back in the day that would have actually pulled that old cultivator. So she certainly is a little bit of history, guys. Now I have had someone saying to me before, and this is way overdue that I'm going to do this, but they said, could I do a video driving the old 4480? So I'm going to do that today. We're going to do a couple of runs with this thing. I'll explain what we're going to do in a minute. We'll hop in the cab, we'll have a little look around. So a little bit of a different video today, but I thought I would just mention the old Chamberlains. These were Australian ag icons. Anyone not in ag or anyone not from Australia, these things were, I mean, everybody had one back in the day. They were just, every farm had a Chamberlain, and of course they were Australian made. So a bit of Aussie iron, I think, was it in the 70s I looked up. John Deere bought into them, and so if you come around this side here, you'll see it does have a John Deere engine in it. So it was largely controlled by John Deere, I think, towards the end of it, and then I think in the mid 80s or something, that was it. Demand, I don't know whether demand diminished for these things or John Deere just shut them down. Not really sure. Someone out there would know more about it than what I do. It's before my time. So anyway, like I said, cool old piece of Aussie iron. We did used to have one. I think we sold it in like the early 2000s. I think something went wrong with the clutch. This one came up for sale locally in 2018, 2019. I think we paid like 10 grand for it. Cheap horsepower. We just put it on the feed mixer, and that's where it, you know, earns its keep, sort of thing. So anyway, they are just handy old tractors, great tractors, super reliable. This one's 120 horsepower, I think. 6-cylinder turbo diesel, so this was one of the bigger ones, I reckon, the old 4480. That was more of a high horsepower option for back in the day. Maybe they went a little bit higher, I'm not sure. Once again, someone else out there would know more about them than me. But anyway, I'll show you what we're doing here. So just in general, this was my failed bean crop in here from the drought last year, although we're still in the drought. But anyway, this paddock had the Star of Bethlehem. Some people like to call it like an onion weed, little bulb that lives under the ground. I came here, I sprayed this was a really bad area. You can see it's bare here. I sprayed this section out. Now, it didn't seem to do too much to it, what I put down. So what we're going to do now is we're going to run a couple of trial strips through here with the old cultivator. We're going to tear it up. We're in the middle of a heat wave at the moment, so we're just going to see whether bringing a few of those bulbs up to the surface might burn them off. I have my doubts, but you know, we're going to give it a go anyway. So a little bit of maximum tillage, see if we can't work a few up. Like I said, we're not going to do a widespread area. I don't want this to not work and it to spread the bulbs everywhere, and then we've got an even worse problem. So we'll just run a handful of strips up and back here and we'll see what it does. But let's jump in the old girl and give this a go. I'm excited to see this thing in action. Now it is a bit grubby in here, guys, because I just smacked my head. Because she does get used to mixed feed all the time and it doesn't get a lot of loving. So anyway, and it's a chaffy, dirty job doing that. So here's the view from the driver's seat. We'll get this thing fired up. Stop cable in, clutch depressed all the time on these things. Yeah, if you don't depress the clutch, she won't crank over. So, alright, what can I show you guys in here? This old girl, everything works on this. Like, all the gauges work, the aircon works. It's pretty incredible, really. So, very, very simplistic on the dash. I mean, just temperature, fuel gauge, oil pressure, engine RPM. We've got amperage there, which is actually not reading anything at the moment. I think the alternator is on the way out on this thing. If you give her a few RPMs, she bumps up all the way. Now this here is the park brake on the old girl, so you got to put your foot down on the brake and then you pull that up, it'll lock the brakes on. Engine, stop cable, PTO, and this is like a high-low range, sort of like when you select the gear and you're going along, you can bump that almost like you would in a power shift tractor, a modern one, and it'll just give you another little extra range. But other than that, we've got 4 speeds really, reverse, and then 3 forward speeds. You got slow and fast, and then we've just got our 2 hydraulic levers here, so that'll put our cultivator in and out of the ground. The old aircon buttons and stuff up here, and she's blowing nice cold air on me this morning. It's supposed to be 40 degrees today, so that is nice. And then yeah, this is the view from the cockpit really. So before we get too carried away, I'll just show you the gears and the different speeds here. So if we just put a 2 slow, you'll see how slow that actually is. I mean, I could probably walk faster than that. We can bump it up with our high-low range there. Very slow. So we're in 2 slow, but if we go to fast, you see this is almost more of a transport speed. She absolutely hoots. So 2 fast, 3 fast really are more transport speeds. I don't think it'd be working at that pace. But yeah, 2, 3 slow, yeah, that's sort of more your working speeds. 1 really is just a creeper gear, it's so slow. We got Dad out here at the moment, he's coming to check out the old girl in action. We'll get back down here and we will rip her in and see what happens. We'll go 3 slow, see what happens. Put a bar in the ground, our cultivator. It's actually getting into the ground pretty well. Thought it might struggle in this dry, hard ground. Alright, we want a bit more speed when we turn. Boom! She's still slow. Doing it like my grandfather did it. Nice.
happened to find them. I haven't seen any others since, but they were all together basically.
So they're fairly soft looking, aren't they? Surely they're not going to enjoy being out in the sun.
No, but it just depends how many surface. I mean, they're in really rough.
Yeah,
like
super cloddy.
It's probably good for the ones that you bring out, but
yeah,
how many are in the clods or whatever, I don't know that. But yeah, is there one in the clod somewhere too? Right?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, I guess. Just work it and then leave it for a while and maybe come back and do it again. I'm surprised how kind of soft and juicy they are. Yeah, they won't like being out in 40-degree heat, surely.
They don't have a real coating on them, so it might fry them.
Yeah, could work. See, there's, you can see more in there as well. There's plenty there. So
let that really bake and dry, and then come again and
yeah. You can see there's heaps of them here actually. Look at that. That's a little one of those Star of Bethlehem bulbs. It almost looks like a little clove of garlic, and it's very soft. I'm surprised how soft and moist they really are. Yeah, I don't think they'll like being out in the sun. So we've done a few runs here. We can see plenty of bulbs on the top, so we're just going to leave it for now. Like I said, we've got some pretty extreme heat coming up. We'll leave it. We'll probably come back and work it again another day. Just let those bulbs sit on the top of the dirt and fry, and we'll see what sort of an effect it has. Not too worried about spreading those bulbs out over this area, because this was so bad anyway. The beans, like the crop that was in here, wasn't even growing there. So yeah, this is just another tool we're trying to use to try and get on top of it. From what I can tell, spraying doesn't seem to do much to them, so we'll try this. Otherwise it's literally coming out and digging them out. But luckily it's only contained to this little paddock here and a few spots, so I don't want it to spread further throughout the farm. That's the problem. Gets me is the tyres on that old thing. 35 years they were off the bead, and put air in them and they pumped up and they're holding. Unbelievable. Neutral, slide in back to low, and then we'll put our brake on. So we push down on our brake, latch up. You see now I can actually push that in all the way back down, and then if I push my foot on the brake, that'll release up. So anyway, on, turn our key off, and then the old cable stops. It really is a clean old tractor, honestly. But what a weapon, what an absolute weapon. I don't know guys, I really enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm sure we'll find a few more jobs for this thing to do. It's pretty cool pulling that out the shed and putting her back to work. I was convinced that we were going to have trouble with the stuff breaking, but we still might, I don't know. But anyway, I can't believe the hydraulic cylinder's holding pressure, and the tyres, it's just incredible. So bit of a different one today guys, but I just want to say thank you very much for watching. We really do appreciate it. Hopefully you enjoyed something different like this. It's nice to have old bits of gear around the farm like that you can pull out and have a play with. So thanks again. You guys have yourselves a good one. Until next time, see ya. Aussie history.